All right, welcome back. So we also talked about stopwords, right? So let's see how stopwords also works. Okay. So we got to understand that stopwords are the most commonly used words in a language. Okay. For example, words like there, is, are, and all those kind of things. They are referred to as stopwords, right? And they do not really contribute very much into our model, right? They do not really give us much information in our model. They help in forming the grammatical structure of the sentence, but not to contribute to our model. So we mainly remove those kind of words. All right. So you may be asking, why do we actually remove them, right? And as I said, it helps us to reduce the low-level information from our text and then focus more on the important information. Okay, focus more on the important information. All right, as we get to start doing some projects, you're going to understand why it's important to remove stopwords. Okay, one crucial questions that you need to also ask, or people ask the most, is do we always remove the stopwords? Okay, and the answer is no, not always, right? We don't always remove the stopwords. For instance, if you see the example that I've given you over here, right? This is a review that someone is giving to a movie, okay? So the person is saying that the movie was not good at all. That is the person's review, honest review to the movie, okay? Now, if you are going to remove stopwords from this, okay, which means that there, we will consider it as a stopword. The was, we will consider it as stopwords. The not, we will consider it as a stopwords. The at, and then the all, we will consider these things as stopwords. Okay, so what is left? It is left with movie and then good. Okay, so now we have movie good, which is positive. Okay, which is a positive review. Meanwhile, the review that the person is giving is actually a negative review, right? The movie was not good at all, right? But after we have removed the stopwords, the review has turned to positive, which is not the case, right? Which is not the case. That is a false, words that we have, or false test. If we move on with this, it means that we're having false information. Okay, so if you're doing things like sentiment analysis, okay, if you're doing things like sentiment analysis to see the sentiment or what people think about something, okay, and you dwell much on stopwords, removing stopwords, then you're always going to have a false information. Okay, so you need to be very, very cautious when and where to remove stopwords. Okay, if you are doing something like test summarization, or you're doing something like test prediction, right? In that case, you can remove stopwords and you won't have much impact on your model. But if you're doing something like sentiment analysis, where you would need to decide whether what the people are typing are positive, or they are typing something negative, or they are testing something positive or negative, right? Whether they're saying something good about your brand or not, those kind of things, use cases, you need to be cautious. You might not want to even remove stopwords, because if you remove the stopwords, they will turn the entire meaning of the sentence is going to change, right? Just like in this case, we have the movie was not good at all, but after removing stopwords, it has turned to movie good, which means it's a positive thing. Meanwhile, the original one, what the person meant was negative, and you're going to have a deceptive model. Okay, so you need to be cautious, right, depending on the use case. All right, and we're going to see some of them as we progress. All right, you're going to see much of a sentiment analysis and others, where you get to understand these kind of use cases. Okay. All right, now let's proceed and see how we remove stopwords. Okay, so there are, as we saw earlier on, right, if you want to do tokenization, there are a couple of libraries that will help you to do that. And it's similar with stopwords. If you want to do stopwords, or remove stopwords, there are a couple of libraries that will help you remove stopwords from your text or from your corpus, which is your data set. Okay. So the first one here is NLTK, which we saw earlier on, right? NLTK stands for Natural Language Toolkit, right? As we mentioned earlier on. So let's see how that helps us in removing stopwords. Okay, so in NLTK we have stopwords. So you import NLTK, and then you do NLTK.download, right? And you download stopwords. These are inbuilt into NLTK. Okay, they are inbuilt into NLTK, just like importing pandas or importing NumPy or something like that. It's like that. It's already inbuilt into NLTK. Okay, for instance, Boston dataset is inbuilt into sklearn, so you can import it the same way stopwords is inbuilt inside into NLTK. Okay, So you can also, download it and use it. All right. So here, the only thing that I'm doing is to download that, right? And then once I download it, I can import it. So from nltk.corpus, remember I told you corpus is the entire data set. So inside the corpus, you can just import only the stopwords. All right. So let's run that. Great. So it has downloaded, and then it has also imported it for us. So let's now see how many stopwords that we have in NLTK. Okay, so here I'm doing stopwords.words, and then the stopwords that I want are the English one. Okay, then here I'm printing them out. I just store them in SW_NLTK. That is stopwords_NLTK. You can choose any variable name that you want. All right, so once I do that and I load this English stopwords, then I'm going to print them out for you to see. So if I run that, right, this is the the stopwords that are there. So if you have sentence, and if you want to remove stopwords and you use NLTK, what it's going to do is that if you find any of these things in your data set or in your corpus, it's going to remove them out. Okay, it's going to take them out, because to NLTK, all these things are stopwords. Okay, so if you apply this thing to your data set, it's going to look for these things in your data set and remove all of them. Okay, so this one I just copied them and then I put them here. That's why you're seeing these things here. Okay, so I, me, and all this, right? I just copied them, right? Let me even delete and do it for you to see. Okay, so I just copied this one, Control C, and then I just did this and pasted it over there. So that's basically what I did. That's what you're seeing over here. Okay, so these are all the stopwords that we have. Okay, we have I, me, my, myself, we, our, ours, ourselves, you are, you have, you will, you would, you are, yours, yourself, yourselves, he, him, his, and all that. Okay, so any of these things, if they appear in your data set, NLTK is going to remove them out. It's going to consider them as stopwords and it's going to take them out. Okay, you can also customize it. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, maybe there are some of them that you don't want to remove. You can also take them out from the one they have built, and then use the rest to work on your test. All right, so there's that kind of flexibility also there. All right, so now let's see how many of these things are there. Right, so let's see how many of so we have 179. Okay, 179 stopwords in NLTK, which you're going to use over and over again in the industry or whatever project that you're doing. These 179 stopwords are the ones you're going to use. You can keep on adding as well. You can add more stopwords to it if you want. I'll show you how to do that. All right. So here I just selected some part of the text that we were using earlier on. Okay, you see that here is to the crazy ones, the misfit, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in their square holes. So I just take the first sentence. All right, let's go up. So the first sentence, this sentence is what I copied up to here. That's what I copied, and that's what you see over here. All right, let's go down. All right, that's what I'm using as my new test. Okay, I'm just calling it as test 2. Okay, then I'm going to apply that NLTK on it. Okay, you can apply it on the entire test. It's not that you have to select some part. I selected some part just to make it simple for you to see how it works. So you can just apply it on the entire test. Okay, so in order to apply it, this is what you do. So you do word for word in test2.split. So in word for word in this. Okay, so each of the words, right? Each of the words, I'm going to split them. Once I split them, then I convert them to lower. Okay, I convert them to lowercase, right? And then I'm selecting only those that are not in the stopwords that we downloaded. It means that anything that is present here and also present in the NLTK stopwords is not going to be selected. Okay, I'm selecting only those that are not present in this. All right. So once I do that, I store everything in words. Okay, and then once I've been able to extract those words that are not in this one, right? I just join the sentences again. I join them together based on spaces. Okay, to form the sentence again, and then I print it out. Okay, I store them in new_text. Then I'm going to print them out and also print the length of the original one, the original text, to how many of them were there, how many words, individual words were there, and after I have removed the stop words, how many of them are left. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. So let's run it and see. Okay, now here is the thing. We see that we have here is to the crazy ones. So now 2 has been removed. So you can see that here is crazy. Okay, and then because here is this one is part of this one, it's not removing the ace. But if it was like something like this, here is, it would have removed the ace as well. Let me just run it again. You will see. You see that the ace is not there. You see that crazy ones is there, right? But the ace is not there. And then even the here is gone, right? Because here is here. If you see, here, let's see if we will find it by our eyes. Let's see if we will find it by our eyes. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. We are looking for here. We are looking for here. You see that is there, right? Here is inside here. So it's going to remove it as well. Okay, it's going to remove it as well. So let's take it back to the way it used to be, right? And then now if we do it, see that the here is there, right? So if it's not in there, it's not going to remove it. If it's in there, it's going to remove it out. Okay, and then you can see that earlier on we were having 105 individual tokens over there, right? 105 individual tokens. I'm referring to words. When I say tokens, I mean the individual words. Okay, and then the length of the new one, after we have removed the stop words, you see that now we have 75. Okay, now we have 75. So basically that's what you do, right? In order to remove the words that you don't want, or the tokens that you don't want. So in this case, 2 will be removed, there will be removed, another there will go, this there will go, this there will go, this there will go, this in will go, and then this there will go. Okay, so that's basically what is going to happen over there. Okay, so that is removing stop words using NLTK. So we're going to see the same thing using spacey. Okay, using spacey. So let's see how it is. Let me actually delete this one, then I'll do that for you to see like I did it above. All right, so for spacey, it's also very simple, right? In order to remove it, you just import spacey, and then once you import spacey, you're going to load this, which is referred to as en_core_web_sm. Okay, that is what inside there is what you have your stop words. Okay, that's what inside there is what you're going to have your stop words. Okay, so I store everything in en. All right, en, and then I do en.default.stopwords to get the stop words, right? Then I store it in sw_, that is stopwords_spacey. Then I'm printing it out for you to see all those stop words that we have in the spacey. Okay, all right, so let me copy all of them like that, Ctrl+C, and then show them, put them here so that you see all of them. So you can see that spacey is having a lot of stop words. Okay, a whole lot of stop words in there. Okay, if you check the length of that, okay, if you print out the length of that, you see that 326 stop words as against 179. Okay, so NLTK is having 179 stop words, but spacey is having all the way 326. All right, now let's see how we can use the spacey to remove stop words from our data set. So the concept is the same thing, right? So word for word in test2.split, if word.lower, that is converting all the words to lower, because the stop words are in themselves in lowercase, right? So in order to find them, you need to convert your sentence or your corpus, right? Your corpus to lowercase, right? So once you do that, if it doesn't find them in the stop words that you have, then it's going to print them out. But if you find them in the stop words, it's going to take them out. Okay, then after that, I'm joining everything together to form the sentence again, right? Joining them based on space to form the sentence again. So that will become my new test. All right, then I'm printing the new test for you to see, and the original test 2 and the new test that we have. Okay, I'm printing the length of them for you to see how it is. Okay, so you see that this one is also doing the same thing, right? 105.75. Okay, original length was 105. After removing the stop words, we have 75, and that's exactly the same thing that NLTK was doing. Okay, so we also have gensim. Okay, we also have gensim. So for gensim, right, for that is generate similar, you can also use that one to remove stop words, right? So we import gensim, and then from gensim.parsing.preprocessing, you import remove stop words, and then you also import stop words. Okay, so remove stop words is going to help you to remove the stop words, and the stop words that are present in GenSim is, just indicated as stop words, right, in caps. That's all. So I'm just printing them out for you to see. Okay, so let me delete this one, right, and then when I run it, I'll just let you see all of them. So let me copy that, and then when I do this, see that is also quite a lot. Okay, quite a lot, as similar to the spacey one. Okay, so it's NLTK which is quite having less stop words in there, but you can see that all these two are having a lot. Let's see the length of these stop words and see. So this is 337, right? I think one more than this one is 326, okay, and this one is 337. So GenSim is having quite a lot of stop words in there. All right, now you have to be careful which one to use, because if you remove more of those stop words, your words itself, as I demonstrated earlier, the meaning of the words that you have, or the meaning of your sentence, is going to change. So you have to be cautious when you're applying these ones, because if you use GenSim, for instance, it's going to remove much of your the stop words. Okay, that is if it finds them. If it finds them in the sentence that you're using, it's going to remove them. So far as it finds them, it's going to remove it. Okay, so let's run this one over here. So I'm just applying this GenSim, and I think this is the simplest. You just do remove stop words and you pass in your text and you're done. Okay, so I'm just storing it as new text. This one, you don't need to do any anything like say word for word in text, blah blah blah. You don't need to do all of that. You just have to do remove once you import it. Okay, once you import remove stop words, you can easily use it like this: remove stop words, and then you pass in your text, and that's it. Okay, the rest I'm just printing it for you to see the new text, right, which is not having the stop words, and the text 2, that's the original, and then the length of the new text as well. So you can see that this is also doing the same thing. Okay, it's also doing the same thing. Now we also have our traditional scikit-learn. Okay, we can also use scikit-learn to do the same thing, to remove stop words. Okay, we can use scikit-learn. So in scikit-learn, right, you can do from sklearn.feature-extraction.test. Okay, and then you can import English stop words from that. Okay, which is also going to do the same thing. So if I run this one, right, these are the English stop words that we have in sklearn. Okay, all right, if you see them over here, quite a lot of them, right? Before, yet, him, anyone, to, 15, then, done, cry, at, would, to, ourselves, meanwhile, on to, must, while, and so on and so forth. Okay, so all these are considered as stop words in sklearn. Okay, so you can use just sklearn if you want to do that, but mostly you're going to use NLTK or maybe Spacey, or you're going to use GenSim to do that. Okay, all right, let's see how we use that one. But first, let's print the length of that to see. So that this one is 318. So the NLTK one is the least among them. Okay, the NLTK is the one having least least stop words. Okay, which is this one, right? NLTK is having around, which is this NLTK is having around 179. Okay, and then you can see that Spacey is having around 326, and we have GenSim, which is having 337, right? NLTK, sklearn is having 318 stop words in there. Okay, all right, now let's see how we use this one. So this one is also similar to the way we use NLTK and Spacey. Okay, so word for word in test.2 spell it, it's just the same thing. Okay, we just add the respective stop words over here. Okay, so in sklearn we add the English stop words. If it is Spacey, we would have added the Spacey one, which is SW_Spacey, which is the name that I gave, right? The name that I gave for the stop words. Okay, this name that I gave. And the same thing on if you're using NLTK, it's just the same thing. The code is the same. This is the only part that we change. Okay, that's the only part that we change. All right, so if we do that, let me run it and see. You see that it's also doing the same thing. Original length is 105. After removing the stop words, we have 75. Okay. All right. Now we can also add our custom stop words. Okay. So we have seen how the stop words are, but sometimes there are words in your text that you will not find it in the stop words, but you want to remove them as stop words as well. Okay. So in such scenario, you can add your own custom stop words, right? And mainly you can do this thing using NLTK. Okay, so in the NLTK, we have another function we call extend. Okay, so when you bring the extend, inside that you can put whatever stop words that you want to add. Okay, so it's just as simple as that. Okay, so now if we check the length again, you see that now we have 183. Originally it was 179, but after we added 4 more, we ended up having 183 there because we have added our own stop words. All right. Then you can also remove existing stop words, right? If you want to remove, it's as simple. You use remove, okay? And then whatever stop words that you want to remove, if it's a list of them, you continuously adding them, right? As many as you want. Okay, so if we do that and check the length again, you see that's 182, right? Because we have removed one out of it. So that's how you do it. You can remove, you can add, right? You can even add your own custom stop words, right? Without using any of the libraries that we have shown above, right? You can create your own stop words, put it in a list, okay, store it in something, right? So in this case, I say my stop words, which is these two there and then in, okay, that I want to remove from the test 2. Okay, the test 2 is this, what we created above, right? Let me see. Which is this one. Here is to the crazy, blah, 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 blah. Let me just copy it and bring it down here. Okay, so what I want to do is to remove stop words, and I'm considering to there and then in as a stop word. Okay, so once I do that and I store this one as a stop word, I just put it here. The same code, just change this part. Okay, and once I do that, if I run this one, you see that I'm doing the same thing. Original is 105, and then after removing the stop words, I have 75. So you can just do it like that, even without using the libraries. Okay, create your own custom, remove some stop words, add some stop words. You can do all of that, right? And we have also seen all these libraries that we can also use. Mainly, you're going to use the libraries to do that without you stressing yourself. All right. Okay, so I hope you've gotten an understanding of how to deal with stop words, and also you've also understand how to do tokenization. All right, so spend time to go through the notebook once again to get a better understanding. Okay, because these are the things that we're going to build on top. So the basic need to be clear, the basic need to be strong. All right, so spend time to understand it. All right, and don't forget, give a good rating and a good review to the course, and also post your all your questions and all your comments at the Q&A session, which I'll be there to respond to them. All right, so see you in the next tutorial. Have a nice day.